3 is a fairly short section, so I don't expect the lecture to go too long. And the reality is, us writing, or with us writing or you guys writing the Declaration of Independence from Rainier, my hope is that you guys understand the Declaration of Independence pretty well. Remember that you're able to use notes for not only the quiz, but you're also able to use notes for the test at the end of the chapter for the Chapter 4 test as well. So make sure you have your focus notes. Make sure you're taking care of the business, and you should do well on both the quiz and the test. 4.3 is we're still in Module 4, which is the American Revolution. 4.3 is declaring independence. So this is us saying to Great Britain, we're done. Right? It's that the famous breakup letter, right? It's us writing the letter and saying we are our own country. Now, to get people to change their minds, because a lot of colonists up to this point had said that they are still wanting to be a part of Britain, right? That we're the First Continental Congress decided that we're still the colonists are going to still be British, that they were not going to break away. Even after Lexington and Concord, the Second Continental Congress is going to write the Olive Branch Petition, and they're still trying to say that they're British, right? That the colonies are still British. It's not until after the Olive Branch Petition is angrily rejected where the Second Continental Congress says, all right, need to start looking really at the concept of declaring independence, and we'll get to that in just a minute. But there were people who were trying to encourage common colonists to believe in and to fight for independence. And one of the things that is going to help the mindset to turn colonists into patriots is a pamphlet called Common Sense. It's going to lead colonial leaders to challenge British authority, right? This is when Thomas Paine is going to write this pamphlet. He writes it anonymously, so that way people are judging the words, not the author. He's going to encourage people to fight for independence. He's going to argue that there shouldn't be kings and queens making the laws, right? That having a monarchy doesn't make sense, that it's not who you're born to, it's the character of the individual, it's the acts and the accomplishments of the individual that need to be judged, not who the parents are. And so there's a lot of significance to Common Sense. It's a 47-page pamphlet. It sells 500,000 copies. That's 1 in 5. It's 20% of the population are purchasing a political pamphlet. Think about if there was a book today that 66 million people bought, a political book that 66 million people bought in the U.S. Those are high numbers for entertaining books. If you think of the Harry Potter series, if you think of, I think it was Divergent, if you think of the Hunger Games, those books are going to reach close to those numbers. Harry Potter for sure. I think the Hunger Games ended up selling that many, pretty close to combined, or even more combined. But we're talking about that kind of level of book. But this is a political pamphlet trying to convince people to have a political and then eventually an actual war. It reaches a wide audience. Like I said, 20% of the people or 1 in 5 will purchase the book. And it does start to change our views on the king. It argues that citizens, not kings and queens, should be making laws. And it's stuff that today we take for granted. Our laws are not written by the governor of a state or the president of the United States. It's written by the House of Representatives and the Senate in each state, or in the federal government. It's written by the people we choose to elect to go there. And so it's chosen. Our laws are written by the people. And as more and more colonists become this idea of patriot, right? Patrick Henry, that concept of give me liberty or give me death. That's when we start to realize, or the colonists start to realize, we need to formally announce our break. And I know my picture is going to go over the picture of the Declaration of Independence for a little bit. And this is a very creepy GIF. That's why I chose it. It is like disturbing when you're watching it. But the Declaration of Independence is going to be set up from a committee of 5 who are put together to write the Declaration of Independence. Thomas Jefferson, I think, was 33. He's in his early to mid 30s. He's asked to write this. He is an incredible author. He is extremely talented with a pen. He's a very flawed human as well, and we'll talk about that in a minute. But when we look at the prose of writing, Thomas Jefferson is incredible. The Declaration is that formal announcement of us breaking from Britain, and us being the United States, so it becomes the United States. In this, there are 3 main arguments to the Declaration of Independence. 1, unalienable rights. We hold these truths to be self-evident that all men are created equal. All right. We have unalienable rights of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Thomas Jefferson wrote, all men are created equal, endowed by the Creator with certain unalienable rights, such as life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Now, this is where the flawed human comes into play. He's a slave owner. He is the father of slave children. He believes that a person can own another human. That is not okay. His ideals of all men are created equal. And today we believe it to be aspirational. And we are continuing to strive as a nation with that. We continue every day to try to be a little better of every person being equal. There are still things in the laws that are inherently unequal. There are still discriminations that can happen, whether in the federal government in certain states. But it's an everyday fight for us to be that better nation, right? To strive to be a more perfect union. And it starts with this, that we believe in today's world, all people. At that time, they were talking about all white men, but all people have the right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. We have the right to live. We have the right to be free, and we have the right to pursue what makes us happy. Now, there are limits to that, right? We can't, if happiness is to go out and, burn down buildings, that's illegal. You cannot do that. But if it is something that's not against the law, you can, some people, their happiness is going to a mall and either people watch or shop or whatever. That is not my happiness. You guys get to go do that, and I will stay away from people. I would much rather be in the woods alone than anywhere near a mall. And I would take in the woods alone every single day. And so we all get to do pursue what makes us happy. The second argument is that King George III violated our rights. Right? He did stuff to us, and we listed 27 times. King, you suck because boom, 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 boom. And one of the most thought of violations was taxing us without our consent, right? It goes back to the no taxation without representation. You can even think about the concept of housing British soldiers. You can talk about closing the Boston Harbor. All of those things are going to be included in the 27 complaints. The last is that the king broke the social contract, right? That the people in charge need to take care of those they're in charge of. If you walk into my class every day and I smack you upside the head, I'm not going to be the teacher anymore because I'm not taking care of the people I'm in charge of taking care of, right? And so the colonists believed that since King George III broke the social contract, we had the right to break away. So the 3 arguments, remember, this is your essay question on the test. Unalienable rights, King George III violated our rights, and King George III broke the social contract, so we have the right to break away. Now, as the Declaration of Independence is declared, as it gets out there, July 4th, 1776, please know that date. I don't make you memorize dates at all. You need to know the 4th of July, Independence Day, 1776. It's when we start our country, right? People have to choose sides. You're going to have either patriots or you have loyalists. Loyalists are the people that side with Britain. Patriots are the ones that are fighting for independence. You have Benjamin Franklin and his son William, right? It's that famous concept of Benjamin Franklin flying the kite with his son in the lightning storm. Don't do this when you have children. But it's that famous scene. They stopped talking to each other because of this. Now, ironically, the father, the old guy, is the radical, and the son is the conservative. The son is much more, oh, no, don't change things, And the old guy's like, yeah, let's mess stuff up. And so that's a little bit different, but also refreshing, right? You can't judge people just because of different aspects, even if it's age. When it comes to Native Americans, most Native Americans were divided in the war effort. They didn't care either side. They didn't like either of us, and rightfully so. The colonists claimed to be British. The colonists were the ones killing natives. They're the ones taking the lands. Native Americans did not like the colonists. There's no shock in that value. Then Native Americans who do start to choose sides in the war side more with the British, right? It's still not the majority of natives. Most of the natives stayed out of it. But the ones that do join in the fighting, more often than not, joined with the British because the British can offer them stuff. We didn't have anything to offer. And so you do see Native Americans siding with Britain more after the independence is declared. Now, with independence being declared, one of the things that starts to take place is that we end up leaving people behind, right? I never know where to leave my face because it's just always in the wrong spot the way I do the pictures. There's always unfinished business. We ignore women and people of color, pure and simple. Abigail Adams is going to try to influence her husband with the Declaration of Independence. She's not necessarily extremely successful here on the Declaration of Independence. She's a lot more successful when he's president. If you're someone who believes in gender equality, Abigail Adams is absolutely someone who needs to be celebrated. A lot of political power. Her husband, when he becomes, is one of the drafters on the committee of the Declaration of Independence, becomes the second president of the United States. And she's able to convince and kind of push John more towards her line, remembering the ladies, than most people at that time. She does have a lot of influence with John Adams. And she's going to fight for including women into the Declaration of Independence. She's much more successful getting more, baby steps for women's rights after he becomes president than she does here. But you see that political pressure. You see that pressure put onto the men, and especially by Abigail Adams. In the 1780s, we see slavery start to end in the New England colonies. And Mum Bet's name is not going to be on the quiz. It's not on the test. But she is absolutely someone who needs to be remembered. I said this in each of the classes. Women are ignored historically. People of color are ignored historically. And specifically, women of color are absolutely ignored historically for us traditionally. Mum Bet is an unbelievable person, fighting for not only gender equality but also racial equality. It's Mum Bet who's going to end slavery in Massachusetts. She uses the Declaration of Independence that all men are created equal, having unalienable rights, life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. She uses that line in her lawsuit, saying that she does not have the right to life, liberty, or the pursuit of happiness as a slave. And it gets to the Supreme Court of Massachusetts Supreme Court. Massachusetts Supreme Court does the right thing. I'm really happy with this. Surprised, but very happy that the Massachusetts Supreme Court sides with Mum Bet. And Massachusetts will end slavery because of a now former slave suing for her freedom. And Mum Bet needs to be is an important woman of color who needs to be whose name should be known. But after Massachusetts ends slavery, we see in the 1780s the rest of the New England colonies taking those same steps to end slavery as well. Make sure that you have your notes available for the quiz. Make sure that you have your notes available for for the test at the end of the chapter. And as always, if you ever have questions, please ask, whether it's either in an email or if it's in the chat, or if you just want to stay after one of the Google Meets and ask, please do. I'm here to help whenever you need it. Good luck on the quiz and test, guys.